All right, Mel, it's time for Mailbag Mania, where we answer your questions. Whatever questions that you may have, it can be about anything. We have the right not to answer them. I'm going to make that very clear.
Mm-hmm.
But the questions themselves can be about anything. If you are watching live and you want to drop some questions in the comments, please do. We will go ahead and get there. But we did have some questions come in off of a tweet that we made earlier. So a tweet. A little Twitter tweet. So, Mel, what do the people want to know?
I'm trying to decide which one I want to do first.
Because fundamentally, we are a podcast for the people.
Correct. Let's power rank the following: brownies, cookies, ice cream, cake, and pie. And I'm curious to see what your power ranking is, because you don't like sweets.
Yeah, -7.
To all?
No.
Because you like ice cream.
I don't like ice cream.
What?
My dad was the Bluebell man forever. So here's the thing.
Okay.
Here's the actual.
That's
let me
right.
get this out there in the public. So people
Crazy.
who watch TFT have heard this before, but if you're new around here, you might not have known about what everyone thinks is like my weirdest quirk in the world. I have a lot of quirks, but this is the one that like people go about. I don't like sweets, and it's not a diet thing. It's not I'm trying to stay fit. I've cut sweets out. It's like, I don't like them. I don't. I can barely handle a little, like, junior Hershey bar square thing.
Which is crazy because you love sweet tea, not half and half tea. You love sweet tea and Dr. Pepper.
Yes.
And you like,
Drinks.
fruity margaritas or something.
Yeah, like drinks, liquids. I'm fine to a certain extent with a lot of like more sweet stuff, or I guess stuff that has a lot more sugar in it, but it's something about the eating it that just doesn't, I don't know, I don't enjoy it.
Yeah.
That being said, the reason being, and I'm convinced that this is the reason, is my dad used to be a Bluebell man. He was a delivery driver for Bluebell. Yeehaw. We are true Texans in the Pickle family.
Really
if you ever
are.
wanted to question how Texan we are, my dad was the
1000%.
damn Bluebell man, which ruled as a kid, okay? Because I did, at that point, I really liked sweets. I enjoyed it, but when your dad's the Bluebell man, you have to give honest recommendations about which ice cream flavors are the best. Anytime there's a new flavor, you're bringing it home because you want to try it, because people ask you about it when you're in the store. Like, I went to work with him a couple of times, and people would get so excited to see us. And they'd be like, oh, well, I heard the Dr. Pepper float ice cream just came out. Like, how good really is it?
Mm-hmm.
So you eat ice cream all the time.
Right.
And it did turn into a health thing at first, because my dad's doctor was like, y'all gotta chill on the ice cream. So we kind of, as a family, were like, oh yeah, we should probably cut back on this a little bit. We were kind of getting a little bigger, you know? And after we just kind of quit eating it, then it got to be one of those things where I think I just had too much of it. It was just burnt out.
You were burnt out.
Yeah, so it's like we kind of not quit cold turkey, but almost kind of quit cold turkey, at least for a little bit, until like situations changed with health reasoning. And then I just never picked it back up. And so now I just can't do it. So back in the day, if I had to, that's a long-winded answer of saying I did like sweets. So I can't answer this honestly from like what I used to like. Pie is number one. And the reason I say that is because every now and then I'll still enjoy pie, because you can get pie with like fruit
in it
that's not like chocolatey. So pie is really versatile. Big pie fan.
We love versatility.
Correct. Brownies would be next, because my mom would always make us brownies for like summer outside, you know, you have a thing of brownies, or like birthday parties or stuff. So brownies would be next. Cookies come in third. My granny makes the best chocolate chip cookies in the entire world. Ice cream, and then cake. I think cake is trash. I can't stand no.
Yeah.
2 thumbs down to cake. I don't like cupcakes. I don't like regular cake. People are always like, what are you going to do for your wedding? I'm like, I don't know, but I'm not eating cake.
Yeah.
Like, I guess I get cake for everyone else.
You still have to get cake at your wedding. You'll just have your guests eat it. I
think we should switch roles, and like I should get a bride's cake instead of a groom's cake. Like
get a pie. Get a bride's pie.
Yeah, like the wedding cake can be for my future husband, and then I'll have like a fruit salad as my bride cake.
Oh my god. Lame.
Like an edible arrangement though.
those are, and you can make those pretty too.
Yeah,
you
that's
can
what I'm saying.
you can dress that up a little
And
bit.
people, that would be different. People would like. I
That's
feel like
right.
people would like
That's
that.
true.
I don't know. Anyway,
I
there's my
would.
power rankings: pie, brownie, cookies, ice cream, cake. Cake is trash.
Yeah, agreed.
Even when I like sweets, I didn't like cake.
Yeah.
I don't like frosting. Frosting's trash.
Yes, I agree with that. Sometimes.
Frosting is really high ceiling, really low floor.
Yes, correct.
It can be good and it can be really bad.
Yeah, that's a good point. I'm gonna start from like reverse order. So
Okay.
I'm putting, like you, I'm putting cake on the bottom.
Cake is trash. We're
because
out on
I
cake.
just now ice cream cake I can deal with.
I consider that
I
ice
like-
cream.
No, well, here's why I don't consider it ice cream, because you can put really good what's that frosting that they put on ice cream cake? It's a specific kind of frosting. It's not It's really good. It's not the typical normal frosting you'd put on cake, but I'm putting cake last because I just don't like cake. I don't really ever eat it. When we get it for family functions, I just don't eat it.
I'm out on cake.
Yeah, out on cake. Don't like that. Next up, I'd probably put ice cream just because I've never really been that big. I'll eat it if it's presented to me, but I'm just not.
You're not gonna
that
seek
big
it
of
out.
I'm not gonna seek it out for a dessert. And I do love sweets. Like I am the epitome of you in the sense that I love sweets. I've got a sweet tooth. I have to try really hard not to have dessert after every single dinner that I eat. So I do love sweets. Third place, I think I'm going to go probably cookies. Because I like cookies and stuff, but also, then again, like at a restaurant, I'm not going to seek out a cookie. Or if I'm, at a bake shop, I'm not going to seek out a cookie.
That's more like, you walk in and there's a cookie sitting there, you're going to grab it.
Exactly. In second place, this is tough. I think I'm going to go with brownies. Because I do love chocolate. I really, really love chocolate. So I think that's why I'm putting that in second. And I love fudge too. So if you're making fudge brownies, I'm going for that.
I love me some fudge.
Yes. And then number 1, I'm going pie.
We had the exact same rankings.
No, we didn't.
Yes, we did.
Did we really?
Yes.
Oh.
Exact same.
Well, see here. Well, I couldn't just. I actually
It's
made
funny
the brownies.
I could tell that you were still considering your ranking, like
I
while
was.
I was talking, and I'm like, you kept
That's-
going.
wait,
When you
that's
put brownies,
hilarious.
I was like, I'm just gonna keep my mouth shut till she actually says pie. Literally, pie, brownies, cookies, ice cream, cake.
I was so
Exact same.
So the top 3 could be interchangeable because I love cookies. I really do, and brownies and pie. That's the thing though. Like, okay, here's how I could make a difference. If I think all brownies are good. There are some pies I don't like.
we
like
do
if you
not
make peach
discriminate
cobbler
against brownies
if
here.
you're
See,
making peach cobbler, I don't. That's considered pie, isn't it?
Or
Or peach pie, or
Yeah.
not a fan of that.
Yeah.
Pumpkin
Cobbler's
pie is
different
really
than
good.
pie. Cobbler is
Yeah.
definitely different than pie. But if you were to put like number 1 on, if you consider cobbler like a sweet thing, cobbler's absolutely number 1 on my list. I do like cobbler. And again, I think it's because it's not really
Super
considered like
sweet.
a sweet. Like that's more.
I love pie crust too. That's part of the reason why I think pie takes the number 1 because it takes the cake. Because
Except we don't like cake.
we don't like cake. But I just love pie crust. I think it's so stinking good. So
Yeah.
that's my rankings. Sorry, we had the same. I didn't realize it.
I could tell like how seriously you were like
But
going
here's
through that in your brain. I'm like, she has no idea that we just said the exact same thing.
Here's the difference, though. I like pretty much all that stuff. You
Yeah.
don't like really any of it.
No,
So
no, no,
I
no.
was ranking it in terms of like, oh man, I like it all, and you're just like, I don't.
I'm like, if I
had
gotta
to pick a number
choose.
1, it'd be pie, and I'd be
Yeah.
like, I think I'm gonna go pie. But I
Cobbler
like all
though,
of it.
man, cobbler. So here's the thing. Here's what I think makes cobbler a dessert is when you put a scoop of ice cream on it.
Yeah, good point.
I think that's what makes cobbler. So
like
that's why I
cobbler.
think I like cobbler is because I can leave off the sweetest part of the cobbler.
Correct.
It's disposable.
Yeah, that's
Ice cream is disposable.
That's a good
on
point.
cobbler. Cake is trash. If you take anything out of this, it's that cake is trash.
It's that cake is trash. Correct.
Well, glad we agree.
I'm glad we agree. Let's go with. Where in Texas would you want to see the Amazing Race head to? I don't really watch the Amazing
yeah,
Race,
I'm not-
so I'm not super
What is
fluent in that. Well, it's like an obstacle course,
oh,
I
okay.
believe. It's kind of out in the wild, I guess you could say. Is that correct? I don't think I've ever fully seen a whole show on it. but I think that's what it is. It's some
I
kind
guess I
of
need
like
to put what is
obstacle amazing race.
What is the amazing race? I know
So what
of
makes
it, but
I wonder
don't
what makes a good
know.
course then if they're going to choose
Here we
that.
go.
You want to read the definition?
According to the Set in
Internet.
Stone dictionary site Wikipedia, The Amazing Race is an adventure reality game show franchise in which teams of 2 people race around the world in competition with other teams.
So an obstacle course, basically.
The race is split into legs with teams tasked to deduce clues, navigate themselves into foreign areas, interact with locals, perform physical and mental challenges, blah, 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 blah. Okay. They travel by airplanes, helicopters, trucks, bicycles, taxi cabs, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Oh, so you're eliminated being the last to arrive. If I had to choose anywhere in the state of Texas for that to be, I would think that there would be 2 options for me. If you're talking about city-based, I would go Houston. And the reason that I would go Houston is because they do have some sort of public transportation where these people could get around. But Houston is so big. I mean, like, sprawled out big. Like, if they had to get from Katy over to Humble or down to the 3rd Ward or, you know, any of that kind of stuff, down by Rice, over to the Galleria, like, that's the biggest city in a geographic circumference that I think would make that incredibly interesting. If you want to take more of like a nature attempt to it, I would think somewhere out in West Texas would be really cool.
I was thinking like maybe El Paso, because you get like the cool mountainous of El Paso, but then you also get the big city vibe too. So I think El Paso would be the perfect place to as a host city for the Amazing Race.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Not wrong. Because you do get the mountains.
You do, yeah. You get pretty much a little bit of everything.
That would be cool. That would be cool. I feel like you can't go, like, there's just, after you get out of the actual city of El Paso, it's like there's kind of nothing. So if that's what you're looking for, then yeah, because I guess you would get the mix of city and also barren land, you know, like nature, plains, mountains. So yeah, El Paso, that's a good one.
I didn't really prepare for this one, but what are the best bets for G5 Power 5 upsets involving Texas teams this season? I'm thinking maybe this is just my mean green showing, but I could see North Texas upsetting Cal.
It's not a bad one.
Not a bad one.
That's not a bad one.
We got them at home this year too. I
Yep.
mean, it's a completely I don't really know what the offense or defense is going to look like under Morris, but I could see it happening.
Yeah.
You know?
No, I can agree with that. I looked back at we had a graphic not too long ago that had all of the actual, like, Texas school versus Texas school matches.
Oh, nice.
And there's 3 on there. One I'm pretty confident in, one not as much.
Oh, I just thought of one that I'm very confident in that I just now thought of.
Okay.
UTSA over Houston.
Yep.
Abso-freaking-lutely.
Yep.
I'm picking the Roadrunners.
Yep.
Absolutely.
That was the first one on my list.
Yes.
That was the first one on my list was UTSA versus Houston, which still is funny because it's like, I mean, obviously I think that you would still consider the American a G5 school and the Big 12 a Power 5 school, but that's also starting to get a little dicey between the level of competition there. But yeah, UTSA versus Houston was my first one on my list. SMU at TCU.
Sure, definitely.
Hear me out, man. The Battle of the Iron Skillet, like, I mean, I feel like both of those teams have been, not last year, but they've kind of been on the same level for a lot, even though one is technically G5 and one's technically Power 5. But that's September 23rd, so both of these teams will have a little bit of something figured out by then, but I just don't know. SMU has done an unbelievable job of the transfer portal and recruiting so far.
Through the wall.
Insane right now. Like, they're bringing in some really, really good contenders, and I think TCU on the other side of that has a lot of holes to figure out.
Absolutely.
I think that they're going to be a good team. Don't get me wrong. I don't think that they're going to go to the national championship game and then go 5-7, but they've got a lot of holes to figure out before they play an SMU team that if they're gelling already by September 23rd, I think it's just with those two, I think they're pretty evenly matched almost, and it's going to be who has it more collectively together in week 3 of the season.
Right. Well, and I think too they're a lot on the same level in the aspect of these teams are just going to look completely different because like you said, SMU is bringing in I don't know how many it is up to now, but like 20 million transfers, a ton from Miami. And then TCU lost a lot to just the NFL draft itself. And so I think both of these teams are just going to look so different in terms of players and who's going to fill those spots into next year. But I think I completely agree with you, especially the quarterback matchup's going to be great, too, with Preston Stone at SMU and Chandler Morris at TCU. They're both really young quarterbacks. And Chandler Morris, if you remember from last year, he was named the starting quarterback for TCU last year. And he got hurt in the Colorado game, and that's when Max Duggan came in. So I really think it's going to be a super exciting matchup, but I could see if SMU's gelling with all their new players, because the thing is, too, I think TCU did bring in a couple of new players, a lot of key players like JoJo Earl from Alabama and Tommy Brockermeyer. But I think that
both Texas kids,
that's why I named them. But I also think that SMU brought in a lot of guys that have experience at this level, too. And I think that they have a better chance of gelling together in week 3, I believe. Week 3 than maybe TCU
September 23rd.
does.
I think that's week 3.
Yeah.
Because, maybe 4.
Yeah. Well, and I think it'll be at TCU this year because I went to the game last year. It was at SMU.
Yeah,
but
it's at TCU.
Yeah,
I think I love the Chandler Morris versus Preston Stone because they're two very, very good quarterbacks. Both can sling it, both can run. But I think Preston Stone's more of a sit back and drop a dime type of quarterback, and Chandler is at his best when he's scrambling like a chicken with his head cut off. I mean, that's what he just excels in. So
well,
I'll be very
SMU
interested to see that.
SMU loves the big explosive plays too.
Oh, yeah.
So they could chop TCU's secondary up if they get gelling on that front.
Well, and like I said, both of those quarterbacks are capable of
Definitely.
dropping dimes, and both of them are capable of running, but I would say that it leans more 60-40 for both of them. And then the last one here, and this is kind of vibes based, because I think SMU has something that they're going to want to go into Fort Worth and try and take down a team that in a rivalry game that just played for a national championship. Another kind of vibes based that going off of that, like one team I feel like has a lot to play for and the other team is just kind of like, okay, we're going to go play this game and we're going to try and get a win. Texas State at Baylor, September 2nd.
Nah. No chance. Just
Texas
kidding.
State at Baylor.
Schmale.
September 2nd. Well, they didn't eat them up, but at least they chewed them up a little
bit.
So last year we were at that game.
We were.
And Texas State had an unbelievable first half, and then they really let it go in the second half, which is about all you can ask for when you're facing off against a Power 5 school. I have this just weird, bubbly, giggly feeling in my gut. And obviously, that's like the most scientific proof that anyone could ever have, is that bubbly, giggly feeling.
Correct.
That G.J. Kinney is going to come out with that Texas State squad and is just going to go balls to the wall. Like, that's what I genuinely feel like that. And it's just one of those things. You've got a brand new head coach. You have an athletic director and a president of the university that has really, really started investing into this program. The hype around Texas State right now is great. And that is your first, you have a clean slate. You know, you've got nothing but hype. And it's like, Baylor, I have a lot of questions about. I think Baylor's the better football team by a lot.
Yeah,
but
I agree.
I don't know. If there was a time for Texas State to turn the football world upside down for a second, it's going to be that game against Baylor. Because if G.J. Kinney wants to rally all of San Marcos, all he needs to do is find a way to squeak out a win in week 1 against Baylor. That's all you got to do. And crazier stuff has happened. Right.
I agree. Well, and you're getting Baylor and Dave Aranda at a time where we don't know what's going on with Baylor.
They don't have much figured out.
We don't have much figured out. The only really for sure position I think that they've got going is probably quarterback. They just recently named Blake Shapen as the starting quarterback. But I just think that I think they're going through an identity crisis. I just don't think they have everything figured out. And then when you look on the other side with Texas State, you got G.J. Kinney, and he's got his quarterback, and probably T.J. Finley, who's the Auburn quarterback transfer. Look what G.J. Kinney did at Incarnate Word when he had his guy, Cameron Ward, at quarterback. They were an electric duo there. And I could kind of see that replicating here with Texas State, him being obviously the head coach there, and then him having his quarterback in T.J. Finley. I could kind of see that
I'm telling
same
you,
thing happening.
You know what vibe I get from this game? I get a lot from that game. And I'm not saying that they're going to win. I'm just saying in my third one of like a just keep your eye out on it. Just flip over to the channel around halftime and see how it's going. This game gives me the same type of vibe as the Texas game last year.
Sure.
Texas Tech beat Texas because Joey McGuire, crazy psycho Joey McGuire, went for like 19 fourth downs and got like 10 of them.
He's got a Joey McGuire vibe to him. GJ Kinney does.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I just feel like the one thing Texas State has always just seemed like they played scared. Like, they never took chances. They never really did anything. Like, they've had a good defense from time to time, but they've never had the explosive offense. GJ Kinney was hired to have that explosive offense, and I just feel like he's going to go out there and say, nope, I trust in you guys. Let her freaking rip.
I think so too.
And if there's any weakness right now in Baylor, it's that defense. I'm just saying, watch out for it. I will roll this tape back if that ends up happening. I don't think it will, but
you never know.
You just asked.
You trust in GJ Kinney. All right, let's see. You want to do one more, two more?
Yeah.
Favorite summertime activity?
Oh, man. Water.
The lake.
Anything water.
Oh, just the lake.
I don't care.
The lake,
I don't care
the pool,
what type of water.
The spa.
Fresh water.
Any oceans.
Salt water. Chlorine
any water.
Any type of water. I heart the water.
I just love the lake. I'm going to be literally spending this entire weekend out at the lake, and I'm just so excited to just bake in the sun and not have to worry about reading pages. Because I went out to the lake last week and read pages all.
Yeah, I sat at the pool and read pages.
Yes, so I'm excited to do that without the pages part. So pumped. That's my favorite summertime activity.
Yeah, I think if you want to talk about a summertime activity that just brings me nothing but joy and nostalgia, it's being out at some kind of body of water, whether that be a lake, a pool, on a boat, anything like that, or at the beach, and eating a slice of watermelon. I'm telling you, anytime we would get done swimming when we were little, my mom would always have watermelon cut up for us, and that is like peak summer for me.
It is. It really is.
I always Memorial Day weekend, I always have some watermelon, like a legitimate, not like, oh, cut up and I'm going to eat it with a fork. I want the full rind, and I want to just go off on the watermelon.
Yeah, which means, speaking of water,
melon form.
Well, that was not where I was going with that.
But fresh water, salt water, chlorinated water,
going off of
melon water.
Correct. Going off of the chlorine front, though, Hurricane Harbor. I really, 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 really want to go to Hurricane Harbor this year. And we can have watermelon at Hurricane Harbor, but I really want to go to Hurricane Harbor.
Slide-formed water. Lazy
nasty
river formed.
Kid-filled water.
Kid water where there's just kiddo pee in it, like.
Yeah, you just don't think about that. You just go on the water slides and enjoy it. Like, no, but I do want to do that.
Melon formed water.
Hey, that was funny. That was really good. That was good. All right, we want to do one more.
Yeah.
Let's end it with a good one. This is more of a serious one.
It doesn't get more serious than watermelon in the summer, my friend.
I guess you're right. Who or what was your reason for getting into sports media?
Oh, man.
Yeah, that's a good ender, I figured.
That is a good ender. For me, it was my dad.
Yeah, same.
My dad, that was like a real unbelievable form of bonding for us. And maybe that's where kind of like the journalistic side came into me. I feel like I was always really curious. I was always very questionative of it. And my mom and them, there's video somewhere of me in a car seat when Ricky Williams was playing for the Longhorns, and I was going, Icky, run.
Oh.
And so ever since then, they were like, oh yeah, we should have seen it coming a lot earlier. My mom put me in cheerleading for like when I was 4 or 5, and she said I left and I was crying because I wanted to go play basketball like the boys. So she's like, that was another sign that we should have known. But really, it was in 7th grade. I was supposed to be an alternate on the UIL impromptu speaking team. The girl that was ahead of me ended up getting sick the day before, and they were like, all right, we got the district meet coming up tomorrow, Pickle, we need you to step in. And it was like, okay. I ended up winning district in 7th grade when I was supposed to be an alternate for impromptu speaking. And so that's when I started to realize, I was like, all right,
I think I'm good at this.
I like this talking thing. And then it kind of I remember when the light bulb really clicked, and I was watching football or basketball or something, and I saw the sideline reporter, and I was like, someone is paying her.
Yeah.
To talk about basketball. I think it was basketball. I was like, I love basketball. Like, what in the world? And then from then, it was just kind of turned into this competitive thing of the boys wouldn't let me fill out brackets with them for March Madness. And I was like, no, I can do this. So I started studying, asking my dudes
suck, man. Dudes suck.
At Matt Stepp.
Specifically
at Greg
Matt Stepp.
Tepper. At Ishmael Johnson. Dudes suck. 2023, get the hashtag going. Someone turn that viral. But anyway, I just started, my dad and we just found a real source of bonding over it. We just really started talking, and that's when it was like, hey, I feel like I'm okay at this talking thing, and I love sports. Why don't I give it a go? And my dad, he always wanted to be a broadcaster, I think, and so it was cool to talk with him about it. But it's definitely my dad and just my natural love for sports that we trick people into paying us to talk about football for a living. We figured out this life
We're
thing.
getting paid to do this right now.
Yeah, we debated over cake and brownies for 30 minutes and watermelon.
Hashtag sports.
I'm getting paid for this.
Women in sports media.
Who would not want to do this?
Correct.
Women belong in sports.
Correct.
Darn it.
For me, it's kind of the same. My dad really got me thinking about wanting to do this for a living. I don't remember which game it was, but when I was back in probably junior high, my dad and I were on the couch watching a Michigan State football game, and I don't remember who the sideline reporter was, but it might have been Molly McGrath or something, and I saw her come on, and she was, reporting on the game and whatnot, and I was like, dang, that would be really stinking cool. That's a female down there, just talking about, and at the time I was like, man, I want to do that for Michigan State only. Yeah. Obviously now can't do that, but I was like, man, that'd be really cool to just go down there and get paid to actually just talk about the game, talk to players and coaches and get paid for that. So I think that's when the light switch for me really came on. It was when my dad was like, hey, you could do that for a living. You can go to school for that and get a degree and actually get paid for that, which is really cool.
Right. And I think you'll agree with this too, I always think about the Grease quote, the quote from Grease that they get on to do the morning announcements, and she goes, ding, ding, ding. And it was, they were making an announcement about going to the Rydell High varsity football game that night, and she goes, even if you can't be an athlete, you can be an athletic supporter.
There
or if you can't
we
be an
go.
athlete, at least be an athletic supporter. That's
Correct.
what it was. And so I think when I started to realize, hey, I don't have a chance to go play basketball at a pro level. It's just not gonna happen.
Right.
That's when I was like, well, shoot, man, if I can stay in the world of sports in some capacity, I'm gonna do it. And I think that's what 95% of sports writers, sports reporters, sports any of that, it was we're not good enough to go play at the pro level, so you know what, we're going to talk about the people that are.
Yeah I was a cheerleader in high school, as you know, and gosh, I loved being a cheerleader, don't get me wrong, but I mean, half the reason I did it was because I just loved being on the sidelines and watching the game from the sidelines. And, I'd have to try and maneuver my way around so I could see above heads and stuff because I'm not very tall. But that was one of my favorite parts about being a cheerleader, was actually being down there and feeling like you're a part of the game. You can hear the coaches' calls and stuff, the kids talking, one-on-one with each other. And I think that's also what made me want to actually just do this and be down there for a living. Also, this too, but there's a video of me when I was 3 months old. I don't know if I've said this story on the show before.
We need to bring up the video at some point.
I'm going to post it again for Father's Day, I think. But there's a video of, I was 3 months old at the time, and my birthday's in December. So this was in March, probably towards the end of March. And my dad is holding me and he's talking to me. My mom's got the little camcorder on me and my dad's talking and he's like, I'm, googling, gagaing, whatever at this point. And he's like, I filled out your bracket and I can't believe you took Michigan State all the way. And I'm just laughing and stuff. And now I look back and I'm like, that's funny because I still do that. I still make that mistake
every single year.
But it's so cute because I'm like, man, who would have thought? Way back then my dad's talking to me about that and stuff. And here I am, just a another crazy Michigan State / sports fan like
Yeah.
he is. So
Yeah. I think
it was destined.
Yeah, I think it was the
From that moment.
competition. I think it was the competition for both of us too. That it was like
Definitely.
once we really started to retain it. Like when I would ask my dad questions, like he would get so mad about a fourth down. And it's like, okay, well, what's a fourth down?
Right.
And then
exactly.
he would explain it.
The
and
curiosity.
Then the curiosity of it. And then when I really started to get it, and I could take what he said and see it on the screen and know it before, like, oh, that's a holding, and then you would see the yellow flag. There's no better feeling than that.
Right.
And so then when the boys in junior high or high school are like, oh, you don't know about it, and it's like, yes, I do. And you could tell them, like, that competitive fire has always been there for me. And I think that if you are, I was an athlete forever growing up. Like I said, I couldn't go do it professionally, so it was like that gives me that competitive like fire that I felt walking out onto the basketball court,
right,
going to a golf tournament, going to play tennis, going to do all of that, stepping out on the volleyball court. It's like that has always fueled me, and so that's definitely the reason behind it. I think I'm just a competitive adrenaline junkie.
Correct. Me too. I'm the same way. We are built in the same in that aspect.
Correct. Including our power rankings of dessert. So there you go. It is women talking football, talking desserts, talking just about everything under the sun.